No, it's interesting. I think that identity is such an interesting thing, and that I find that in my life, my identity has had a lot to do with where I am. You know, that identity shifts based on where one is, really. And so when I came to the US, I found myself taking on a new identity. Or no, rather, I found a new identity thrust upon me.
Thrust upon you here.
I became black in America. And I really hadn't thought of myself as black in Nigeria. I think that identity in Nigeria was ethnic, it was religious, but race just wasn't present. And in some ways, I think it is in Southern Africa, for example, but not in West Africa. And I guess for historical reasons, we didn't have people stay on and take over our land. So,
how did that happen to you? I mean, when you came here, how was it made? How were you made aware that there was a particular box that you were supposed to occupy as a person of color, as a black person in America?
I think of this moment as sort of the defining moment. I'm in class, it's the first essay we've written for a class, and the professor comes in and he says, "This is the best essay in class, and I want to know who wrote it." And he called my name. And I raised my hand and he looked surprised. And it was a very small, fleeting moment. But at that moment, and I had been in the US only a few weeks, but in that moment I realized that he hadn't expected the person who wrote the best essay to be black. And so what it taught me at that moment was that to be black in America meant something. And so discovering this identity, it wasn't so much that I like to say I'm happily black, so I don't have a problem at all with sort of having skin the color of chocolate. But it's that in this country, I came to realize that to have that meant something, that it came with baggage and with all of these assumptions, and that the idea of black achievement was a remarkable thing. Whereas for me in Nigeria, it wasn't. It was norm. And I think that's when I started to internalize what it meant, and that's when I started to push back. So for a long time, I didn't want to be identified as black.
I'm a phoenix in the water, a fish that's learned to fly. And I've always been a daughter, the feathers are meant for the sky. And so I'm wishing, wishing further for the excitement to arrive. It's just I'd rather be causing the chaos than laying at the sharp end of this knife. With every small disaster, I'll let the water still take me away to someplace real. 'Cause they say home is where your heart is sitting, stone is where you go when you're alone, is where you go to
themselves, to make themselves smaller. We say to girls, you can have ambition, but not too much. You should aim to be successful, but not too successful, otherwise you will threaten the man. Because I am female, I am expected to aspire to marriage. I'm expected to make my life choices, always keeping in mind that marriage is the most important. And marriage can be a source of joy and love and mutual support. But why do we teach girls to aspire to marriage and we don't teach boys the same? We raise girls to see each other as competitors, not for jobs or for accomplishments, which I think can be a good thing, but for the attention of men. We teach girls that they cannot be sexual beings in the way that boys are. Feminist, a person who believes in the social, political, and economic equality of the sexes.
You wake up, post up, round in it, flossing on it. This diamond, my diamond.